Before judging Islam on equality, equality must be defined before it is judged. The discussion collapses into slogans. Equality can mean three different things: equality of intrinsic human worth, equality of moral accountability before God, and equality of roles or outcomes in social and legal life. Islam explicitly affirms the first two and explicitly rejects the third. And most criticisms of Islam arise from collapsing these categories into one. Islam teaches that all human beings possess equal intrinsic worth simply by being human. This dignity is universal, unconditional, and independent of gender, race, lineage, class, or belief. The Quran states that God has honored all the children of Adam, Quran chapter 17, verse 70, not Muslims only, not men, not believers, but humanity as such. It further states that the only criterion of superiority in God's sight is righteousness, not biology or social position, Quran chapter 49, verse 13. No verse in the Quran claims men are more human than women, Arabs more human than non-Arabs, or believers more human than non-believers. Islam also establishes strict equality and moral accountability. There is no inherited sin, no ancestral guilt, and no collective punishment. As the Quran repeatedly affirms that no soul bears the burden of another, Quran chapter 6, verse 164. Every individual begins life morally neutral and is judged only for their own choices and actions. Men and women are addressed explicitly and symmetrically in matters of faith, conduct, reward, and punishment, with identical spiritual consequences for identical moral behavior, Quran chapter 33, verse 35. There is no mediator, priesthood, or sacramental gatekeeping in Islam, and salvation is not tied to gender, ancestry, or social class, where Islam does not claim equality in roles, responsibilities, and legal obligations. And this is not hidden or accidental. Islamic law assigns differentiated duties based on responsibility, function, and social order, not on human value. This is the area most attacked by critics, often dishonestly. For example, critics cite Quran chapter 4, verse 34 to claim male superiority, but the verse itself ties authority, qiwama, explicitly to financial responsibility and maintenance, not to intrinsic worth, intelligence, or moral superiority. Authority here is conditional, functional, and revocable if responsibility is not fulfilled. Critics attack inheritance laws by claiming that women are valued less because men often receive a larger share, while ignoring that men are legally obligated to financially support wives, children, and sometimes parents. In contrast, a woman's wealth is her own and not legally claimable by male relatives. Inheritance in Islam follows responsibility, not worth, and in multiple scenarios, women inherit equally, more than men, or inherit while men inherit nothing. Critics attack testimony rules by claiming women are intellectually inferior, selectively citing Quran chapter 2 verse 282 while ignoring that the verse is explicitly about a specific commercial context, that it gives a practical reason related to familiarity with financial contracts, and that Islamic law accepts women's testimony alone in numerous other legal domains such as childbirth, nursing, sexual assault, and domestic matters. If intellectual inferiority were the principle, women could not be scholars, jurists, or transmitters of hadith, which they historically were. Critics attack polygyny as proof of inequality while ignoring that Islam restricted an already existing practice, tied it to strict justice, did not mandate it, and grounded the rule in biological and social realities rather than moral hierarchy. Critics attack hijab by assuming regulation equals objectification, while ignoring that the Quran first commands men to lower their gaze, regulates behavior alongside dress, and frames modesty as a social ethic rather than a statement of female worth. Critics often import modern egalitarian assumptions and then accuse Islam of failing standards it never claimed to uphold. Islam does not teach equality of roles or outcomes, and it never promises sameness. Its governing principle is justice, not identical treatment. Justice in Islam means assigning obligations appropriately while preserving equal dignity and moral standing. Treating unequal responsibilities as if they were identical would itself be unjust. The most common misunderstanding is equating difference with inferiority. Islam does not derive authority from creation order, gender essence, or biological hierarchy, nor does it claim that difference in legal function implies difference in humanity, spirituality, or closeness to God. Moral superiority in Islam is earned through righteousness alone, not inherited through sex, race, or lineage. Anyone who argues that Islam teaches human inequality is confusing role differentiation with value differentiation, a distinction the Quran itself consistently maintains. In summary, Islam affirms equal intrinsic human worth and equal moral accountability without exception, rejects inherited guilt and biological superiority entirely, and openly organizes society through differentiated roles tied to responsibility rather than value. Any critique that treats role difference as proof of lesser humanity is not engaging Islam on its own terms, but imposing an external definition of equality that Islam never claimed.